Hello, welcome to the channel. My name's Pete. This episode we're going to try and get this Suzuki Bandit going. I bought this Suzuki Bandit off Facebook Marketplace for around £900. Rode it for 22 miles and then she packed up working. So I had to strip it down. I rebuilt the carbs. It turned out the jets were blocked. I've rebuilt the carbs, I've put them back on. I've had to clean out the tank because the jets were blocked because the tank was full of debris and the actual tank liner had just disintegrated. It was suggested to me that it could have been the E10 petrol that has caused that disintegration, or at least contributed towards it. So we've got that cleaned out, back on the bike, and I tried starting it. And sadly, this is what happened. Yeah, battery doesn't sound too good. Right, that's cut out. What does that mean? So that was a bit of an anticlimax, wasn't it? Battery's attached. It's been charged up and everything. So, but everything's dead. There's no power at all. So I'm just checking the fuses. So I've got to go through these. I've checked those two already. This is the ignition one. Oh, look at that. As it turned out, that 10 amp fuse is the ignition fuse. It had disintegrated in situ. Parts of it were left there. It felt like it was because of age, so I definitely knew I had to replace that. Was it as simple as a 10 amp fuse? So I've just been to get a 10 amp fuse. Who knew there was that many 10 amp fuses? So I've got one that looked best like it. I'm going to try it and hopefully it'll work. Hopefully this is the problem. If not, it could be that battery. So if we do look, I do have black and red, and on the red on there. So we are the right way around. And that's our 10 amp fuse that's missing. Now I have read problems about people having issues around 10 amp fuses in these bikes. So let me get this one in. Okay, strike two, 10 amp fuse in. I've got a 15 amp in case that dies again. Got to let air get around. Dead. Blown the fuse. After my second attempt at starting the bike, I was really getting disheartened. I thought the fuse had blown, so I had to check the fuse again because it could have been a short circuit overloading the system. So I did check that fuse and it was still there. It wasn't broken. Nothing had happened. What was wrong with this bike? Had I done something? Had I disconnected something? Whilst I was trying to repair the carburettor with the tank off, the carburettor's out, I just wasn't sure. I knew I had to start going through this bike to find out what that could have been. So now it's the next day from my miserable attempt at starting this bike where something shorted out. I spoke to somebody about these bikes from a Bandit group, so thank you. I'll turn the camera around and I'll show you what I've possibly learned. So this is my fuse box, and it's that 10 amp fuse there what I thought was blowing and was damaged, but actually when I look at that there, that's still intact. Now should it be a 10 amp fuse? Well, that's yes. I'll put that back in a second because I can't do it one-handed, because we've got this here that says 10 amp ignition. Now that was damaged or frail when I took the original one out, or the one that was already in there. I just want to get it in, otherwise I'll lose it. I know what I'm like. I'll put that in my pocket. So now we've got another ignition fuse down here, that green one there, and that's 30 amps, so I need to check that. I've taken the battery out and we're on charge here, which looks like it's fully charged. But I've got a new battery ordered in case that battery is a problem, because it can cause this issue. The next thing to look at is this. Is it shorting out? Because it's when I push that button, it dies. I think, yes, that's a risk, because I was putting fluid in there. So I now need to take this part and have a look at it and see what's going on. I might have to buy a new starter switch, which I've been looking at. They're about 30 quid for a recondition, well, for one off eBay. So I've taken this 30 amp fuse out of here, part of the ignition system. I had to undo alt fairing to get my hand in there because I've got big hands. But I hope you can see that. That's intact. It's a little bit grimy, but I'll clean that up and I'll pop that back in. So I've eliminated that as a problem, I think. Just a process of elimination, trying to get this battery on charge still. Looks like it's charged, even though it seemed to show it was dead yesterday. Not going to put it back in yet. Fuse in and cover on. 10 amp fuse is intact as well, so it's 30 amp. Next thing is now to take this off and have a look inside there and clean that up if necessary. That still works after a night, so that'll be fine. Now when I look at this, this is where I was lubricating the brake cables, I mean throttle cables. This is a separate unit. I don't want to have to take these off to take the grip off and get under there to have a look, so I might be able to spin it around and see if that actual part, because that's a separate unit in there, so I need to look in there. But I could probably also track this cable down, this one, find out where that goes and follow it. I know which one it is. But as far as I can tell, that shouldn't have any moisture in it, but it is fusing or becoming dead when I do that, when it's getting power. So I wonder if it actually is the battery. I'll investigate this a little bit further. So this on a motorcycle is called switch gear, and at that side as well. So rather than take it all off to be able to move the bars, because there's no give in throttle cables on motorcycles, so generally speaking, if you change the bars, if they're raised up, you have to change the throttle cables and everything else that goes along with it. So what I need to do is take the bars off, move them that way, like this, and then I'll be able to position it so that I can slide the throttle off. There isn't quite enough play on these bars to do that, but at least I can turn it over and see the underside and have a look at this. So it looks like I probably can't get that apart anymore. That screws for this bracket here for this cable. That's for there. That looks like it's one piece, and the last thing I want to start doing is undoing that screw in there. That one, because I feel like I've taken it apart too much. Yeah, it looks like I can't do anything else with that. So I've checked the fuses, I've checked the routing of the cable, that's in order. I've checked the start button as best I can. I can't get it apart, so it is what it is that. If that's got moisture in it, then it'll be a new one. So it looks like the battery is fully charged. So I'm going to give it another go. If it fails this time, I'll check. Well, I don't know what will be wrong with it. I think it'll be a case of hopefully a new battery may fix the issue. Failing that, I'm going to have to call in some reinforcements, I think. So the fuse in there, that's not damaged, I know that, and I've checked the fuse down here. That should be everything for the ignition. The next fault could be something with this wire being shorted out. But on the dash, the lights were not coming on. Now the battery is supposed to be charged. I've got that down there. I mean, it's not even showing as it charged now. There, so I don't know. Anyway, that's that. Now what I can do is, if I disconnect these, just let me pop that back on a second. I'll turn it off at socket. I'll disconnect them. And that's that. Now if I put the key in, and turn the key, nothing happens. We've got no lights on the dash. So I'll turn it back off, leave key in, connect up. That's on there. Sorry about my fingers there. That's connected up. And turn socket back on, and then we should get lit up down there. So according to that, it's meant to be fully charged, but it's not. But then when we're connected up there, but then when I connect to here, to turn the ignition on, we've got lights on the dash. I don't know if I can start it. I mean, is that like jump lead in it? Shall we have a go? Dead. So I don't know what's wrong. I'm going to have some further investigations and wait till I get a new battery. Now it's been a few days since I've been at this bike. I needed a rest from it. Plus I was waiting for a delivery, which is this, a new battery. I'm placing a lot of faith in this. It's costing me a lot of money to get a new battery for the bike. I'll plug it in and then we're going to try and start it again. Choke on when we do all that. Hopefully it'll be fine. If not, then I found a way to strip this down even further so that I can actually get out the wires and see if there's a contact issue. I've been studying the wiring diagrams and I've bought a tool to measure the ampage to see what's working and what's not working. But for now, I'm hoping a new battery is our issue. I've never had a new battery before, so I don't even know if you need to charge them. Let's get this on board. As I'm connecting up this battery, I'm just hoping and praying that this is all it is, just a simple battery swap, because I don't want to be going through the wiring looms, but I am prepared to do that. I will stop at nothing to try and get this bike going. Yes, we have bright ignition lights. Let's have a bit of choke. Okay, the lights are off. Everything looking good. Okay. Choke on. Here we go. So she's turning over, not blowing any fuses. Now I know there's no fuel in the carburetors or anything. So how many times do I turn it over before it gets some fuel pumping through? So it's turning over, but it's not actually firing. Right. So that could be not fueling the carburetor yet. How do I bleed it? I'll be back. Bit more research. I need to make sure fuel's going through. I know the tap's on correctly. I'll have one more go. So I don't want to flatten the battery. So the first thing I'm going to do is undo one of them bolts to see if there's any petrol that comes out to drain the carb bowl, see if there's any petrol getting through there. Bear with me. Again, the bike failed to start. I then have to go through methodically the fuel system. First of all, I start checking the fuel tap, petrol tap, but what I have learned is not a petcock. That is an Americanism. I didn't know that, so I'm going to try and call it the fuel tap or petrol tap. So going through there, I'm looking at the balls. I'm going to undo that bolt there underneath to see if there's petrol coming through. I'm checking that I've not got that fuel tap on the wrong setting, and I'm also looking to see if there's anything else loose. I'll go around to the other side just to see what's going on there, making sure that those screws are accessible, that I can get to them and drain them, and see if there is fuel getting to the carburettor, because if there isn't, that means there is a blockage somewhere between the carburettor and the petrol tank. Now, I'm not a mechanic, and I never knew how to do anything on this bike that I've been doing over the past couple of weeks. I didn't think I'd ever take carburetors out, strip them down, rebuild them and put them back on a motorcycle. I didn't think I'd ever need to do that. I'm teaching myself as I'm going along, and I like to push myself and learn what I can about this bike. And the people who have been writing in my comments have been absolutely fantastic. I couldn't have done it without you. I know that I've missed one or two bits right now, but I'm learning, and we will go back through this bike. We will go back and we will get the height of the floats right. We will put an inline filter on this bike, but there are one or two little other niggling bits on this bike that we will go through and we will get sorted. But for now, when I try to do something, I always try and see it through to completion. And this bike, right now, I just want to get it started. I can't believe I've got to this point with the disappointments, the highs and lows, and I could never have afforded to pay the mechanic to have done this for me. I'm really hoping I can get this bike started. I just want to ride it. I want to get out there, I want to get back on the road with it. And I just love that freedom that motorbikes offer. So please, bear with me, and let's just hope that we can get this bike started. Lights are on, no issues there. Yes. .3,000 revs. Choke still on. Heat. Yes. Yes. 4 pistons. She sounds okay. Too loud for my liking. Choke down again, that's 3,500 revs. Now it wouldn't idle before very easily on low choke. 2,500 settling at. It sounds miles better. Now I'm hoping when I ride this I might feel a bit of power when I accelerate as well. I realise it's only a 600 Bandit and they're not known for power, but it was flat. Settling at 2,000. It sounds miles better. Honestly, it does. If I can do this, anyone can do it. I literally didn't have a clue what I was doing. Wrong way, I'm not used to the bike. 22 miles I've done on it. 22.8 actually. It's running on E5, that's all I'm going to put in it. That's choke almost off. Still not quite warm enough. Now you Bandit guys out there tell me that these take a while to warm up. They are an old bike, it's a 1997 model. I can't thank everybody enough who's commented and given me tips. There are a few things I need to do to this bike. I want to give it a ride out first. Once I've given it a ride out, I'll let you know how it's going. And I'll tell you the bits that I need to do, because I didn't do them as I was going along, because the videos are usually out a week behind where I am with the bike. But I've learnt that lesson. I've tried to get these videos out quicker so that you're able to help me more, and honestly I can't thank everybody enough who's commented. Positive comments. There's been a negative comment about Bandits, but people are entitled to their opinions. But you've got to remember, people buy what they can afford. It don't matter what bike you ride. I might not like it. You might have one of them Triumph Tigers. You might have a Multistrada. I don't like the look of them. Don't mean it's a crap bike or shite. It's just not mine. It's yours. And that's the important thing. It's your bike. You love it. My bike. Honestly, this thing's grown on me. I'm going to see how it goes before I decide to keep it or not. If I do, honestly, I've thought about even stripping it right back down to a bare frame and getting it re-powder coated, getting the tank recovered in the colours that I want. Yeah, this bike is a really nice blue. But you know what? It's such an old bike. It's never going to be really worth anything because there's a lot of them around. So why don't I get the frame powder coated in a colour that I want? Get the tank done, maybe deep purple or something like that. Who knows? Sky's the limit, innit? When it's your bike and it's cheap. And if I've done that, sorry, I'm waffling because I'm so excited. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed watching, trying to get the Bandit going. Please stay tuned because we're going to be keeping the Bandit running. In the meantime, please take care. Much love. Thank you very much.